Listen to this next Agile Vocalist episode. Agile Vocalist is a podcast and blog about sound and the performing arts with a California connection.
Destani Wolf is one of the West Coast's most inventive vocalists who's forged her own path as a songwriter and accomplished improviser. From her first public appearance at age 15 at San Francisco's Great American Music Hall to present, Destani's voice has been on over 40 albums. She's a 3-time Grammy nominee, and she's worked with artists such as John Cale to Bobby McFerrin to The Far Side. You have also heard her on video games like Call of Duty, soundtracks such as Disney's Descendants, Kevin Hart's Laugh at My Pain, and Fox's So You Think You Can Dance. Destani is the original lead singer of Cirque du Soleil's show Bazzar. She's a current member of Bobby McFerrin's Motion and collaborates and tours with groups such as Bandaloop Aerial Dance Company, John Santos, and Matisyahu. Since 2020, she's been producing her own empowering, healing music based on binaural beats and sound frequencies. As a singer, your exploration into binaural beats and using sound and frequency for healing. Can you tell me how you started down that path of healing? Like, what was the tipping point that...
Yeah, I mean, I think I knew early on as a kid when I would sing that it would touch people. Music would touch people. And earlier on also... probably I started singing more at services, for funerals or for weddings or for moments of rites of passage. And that's partly when I knew when I could sing that people could let out their tears, for instance, and that I could hold space in that way. I think that's partly when I realized how powerful music can be, especially singing, and my role in that of service. And I'd say also just my connection with nature and singing in nature, how that also makes me feel, and how I feel healed by singing, by writing my own songs. But that definitely has become more defined. I'll say it again. But that definitely has become more defined over the years, and especially working with Bobby McFerrin now in this time in his life, and really building community and recognizing how much our voice, our own unique voice, can affect ourselves and our hearts and our souls and our minds. So with Destini's piece during the pandemic, I don't know about you, but I had a little bit of time to do so. kind of, I have 2 kids, but still had a little time.
Yeah.
And during that time, I just wanted to meditate more. I was just trying to find my own peace. Again, that's usually what a lot of my music is, reminders for myself, me trying to navigate my own path. In the hopes that perhaps what I'm doing can maybe touch someone else. That's when I share it, I guess.
Oh, cool.
So I started meditating more, and I got into binaural beats, which is essentially having one frequency in one ear and another frequency in another ear, just slightly lower or higher at a specific distance. So once you have them in both ears, it then creates a third tone.
Third tone, okay.
Yeah, and that third tone is what can be a catalyst for brainwave entrainment. So essentially when we're meditating, you know, our brainwaves do go to different states. And also when we're about to go into deep sleep, those kind of things. And so I just liked how it felt. And I'm not a scientist. I don't have, you know, for me it was more of my own, how does this make me feel? And I started exploring, you know. And with that, I realized, oh, this is, can I create this? How do you do this? How can how can I make this music? And just started playing with it, and it felt good.
And so is it so it's something like, could it be like in one ear it's like and then another ear, in the other ear it's like and then there's a third tone that comes, and that third tone is created by your brain to fill in the gap.
Yeah, it's created by those 2 frequencies, and that's what your brain is, essentially. I thought, okay, well, 432 hertz is supposed to be this healing frequency. Can I create this with my voice? And, you know, I can't. My piano, maybe some note could potentially, but it really has to be generated, or there's specific instruments that are tuned for these frequencies. So it's not so defined as like A or...
got it.
It's like very, I mean, it's more defined. It's very specific.
Right. I heard, did you say you kind of experimented with the sound frequency stuff on your kids a little bit?
I did reveal that on a podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
They're my guinea pigs.
They were your guinea pigs.
Yeah, so I had my son, because for me, I felt it. There's 741 is supposed to be a frequency that affects the throat chakra.
Okay.
And I was curious about that, and I just wanted to feel that in my own body, and I did feel that resonation, but then resonating, and I asked my son where he felt it, and he felt it there too, and I was like, oh, there is something to this.
There is something to it.
Did my own data.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I mean, ultimately, you know, if it feels good to me, that's what matters.
Yeah, right.
And I start there, and then if people feel it, then that's wonderful, and if they don't, they can move on. You know. So
beautiful. SoVoSó is how I first learned of you. I guess you were, you know, pretty early in your career when you started with them. I'm just curious. It looks like you spent about 6 years singing with them.
I think five or six. Yeah.
How did you find them? How did they find you? Was it just some sort of gig where the magic erupted?
Well, so SoVoSó was my first internationally touring band, which was really cool in my early 20s. Someone asked if I wanted to audition for this a cappella band, so I didn't know of them.
Oh, interesting.
And I had always thought that John Santos was the one who referred me to them, and he did. Somebody else was like, well, I also referred you to me. I think it was Nicholas Beard. He's like, I'm the one who heard you or something.
Oh, yes.
And so, you know, I auditioned, and it was essentially, they said, can we try this? Can you try this? And can you sing something for us? And it was just fun. It was just me just doing what I do. And it was a challenge and a total different skill set that I got to learn and experience. And, you know, all those folks are like my family now. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful for the time, especially at that time, really understanding, building my own vocal palette, and I've always sung with other voices because my sisters also sing, and my mom and my dad, I guess. But in this kind of way, it was very different, and yeah, so I enjoyed just having that be a part of what I do.
Well, and they also have that incredible, you know, the different polyrhythmic things that they do, and just a range of repertoire. You went to the Grammys this year.
Mm-hmm.
But that was different from, or maybe I'm wrong, that's different from your Independent Music Award nomination. That was something separate.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I sang, I was featured on a video game soundtrack. And it was just a session gig. Someone referred me for the session, and I sang it. It was like a rock en español type of song. So I sang the song, you know, kind of anthemic song, and it was on the credits of video game, of Call of Duty. And so it got nominated for a Grammy this past year. Yeah.
That's wild.
And so that is my third project that's been nominated for a Grammy, that I've been a part of, actually.
What are the others?
One was with John Santos, and the other with Jose Rizzo's Mongorama, which was a all-star Latin jazz band out of Los Angeles.
Oh, cool.
And we did a couple recordings, so all of them have to do with, I guess, my Latin side, my Mexican side. Yeah, singing in Spanish. But yeah, it was definitely fun. Fun to check it all out again.
And when you're doing stuff, so I assume some of that production was in LA, so you just travel to record, or were you living down there at the time?
I was living in LA for 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a huge musical community down there, and well, yeah, it's wonderful that we are able to, you know, co-create from all over the place. Miguel Atwood Ferguson is a viola player from there, and he's on my latest track. We wrote a track together for Destini's piece, and
He's the violinist?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I want to take it back a little bit, or take it forward to now, to Bobby McFerrin and Motion, and what happens on Mondays in Berkeley. I've been a couple times myself. And the creating community and space and accessibility. Basically, for $35, anybody can walk in and co-create with yourself and the members of Motion and with Bobby. And what have you seen that do for the community? I mean, I kind of was looking around, and, you know, I think Linda Ronstadt attended once, and, you know, every musician I've talked to where it comes up, they're like, I need to go do that, you know? I think it's just interesting because it's not just the fans of vocal or a cappella music, but it's now the actual musicians that have been around a really long time. It's almost like it's that one touristy thing you don't do, but now they're all... I've talked to a couple of people that say, I need to make time for that.
Right, I know, it's tricky because it's at noon,
right,
you know, middle of the day. Although that should be better for musicians.
That should be better for musicians, yeah. What have you seen? I mean, what's been running 2 years now?
3 years.
3 years. What are you seeing with that either by people attending or the way people are reacting to it? Anything that sticks out in your mind?
I feel that it's a place where people are allowed to just be, and it's just a very peaceful, serene, and silly and fun kind of environment. Especially for us, I think with Bobby, you know, maybe in the beginning he won't take something so seriously and we'll be joking and it'll turn into some epic, you know, moment together.
Yeah.
A spiritual moment or a moving moment, touching moment. And so I feel like it gives people an opportunity also to feel their own voice, even if they're just given a part in the room.
Right.
And I find that, especially in this culture of the U.S., people are not encouraged to sing, like maybe in Mexico or maybe in Ireland or I don't know. I feel like there is something so profound that happens to us when we give ourselves permission.
Yeah.
So that's what it does, I think, is gives us permission to use our own voices.
It's interesting. I was researching another interview, and this is the second reference I've heard to I don't know if it's that American culture is just a mishmash of so many other cultures, but that breakdown of family, that breakdown of extended family and community and mobility, people moving around and they don't necessarily live with family and have elders in the household. And somehow singing has tumbled a little bit down with that. So you grew up, you said you have Mexican heritage.
My mom's
is that the side where the music comes from, or does it come from both?
My dad is he's very rhythmic and like a good dancer, and there's music, he loves music too. I think what I mean more is that people are discouraged to sing.
Yeah, okay.
You know, that they are told, like, just let so-and-so do it, or, you know, I don't know, and then we become so critical of ourselves. And my point is, not everybody needs to go on stage to sing. Sing for ourselves while you're washing dishes, while you're in your car. It's just such a powerful tool. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
Self-soothe,
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. So the other thing I notice is that you're teaching and doing vocal coaching now. I'd love to hear. Well, this goes back to my own history with a music camp that I'm involved with. I wasn't involved this year, but I guess have you taught at both Jazz Camp West and Jam Camp?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You were a camper, right?
Yeah.
And now you're a teacher. How does that feel? What's that been like to make that transition?
Well, I guess it was years ago that I made that transition. Uh-huh. But I always am feeling, I always am still just trying to learn in life. And so I don't feel like I've transitioned necessarily.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because there's so much more to learn musically, philosophically, just in life in general. Just, I don't know. I have a lot of interests. So I guess I would say, in terms of I appreciate having so much to share, and I appreciate the mentors I've had and continue to have, and I hope to be able to be that for other people, and to encourage and to be someone that my students can come to when they're going through their own life of this musical. It's difficult to be a musician. So, and that always helps when you can talk to people in your community who say, "Oh yeah, I know what that feels like," or
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting. And
do you then have like relationships with people who are young adults and late teens who are coming back to you and I'm working on this and I just can't?
I wish I had more people who. Not as much. I'm definitely resonate with that, like different ages.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do some, but not as much. Yeah. But it is important to me.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite person that you love to collab with? Or maybe it's a type of instrument or?
I mean, I play a little bit of piano and a little bit of guitar. Oh, I have so many collaborators. One of my friends, Rico Pavon, he's a MC out of the area here, and we were in a band called Omaya, which is the Afro-Latin hip-hop group.
With social justice kinds of music. Yeah.
And I've always loved his musical aesthetic and what, just his feel. And of course, he's a great lyricist and just a great friend. So many friends Bobby Easton is another great friend who he plays a great guitar player in LA. We exchange ideas, talk about things all the time. Right now, I'm working with, call him Benny J. It's Ben Udvalkis. He's a really great songwriter who we write music for Bandaloop, the Aerial Dance Troupe. Yeah, and so we're working on a project right now that in September we'll be doing something in Alameda.
Like a live performance.
Yeah, live performance that is based off of the sentiment of migrating people and their stories and connecting that to the migration of birds, and just trying to evoke empathy for these people's lives that go through this. So we're writing songs for that.
You're writing songs, and the songs will be played as the troupe does. I know Bandaloop does stuff on the sides of buildings. Is what I've.
Yeah. So they'll be rappelling.
And you'll be singing.
I will not be rappelling, even though I think they'd like to get me up there. But yeah. So it's kind of an extension in some ways of my Cirque du Soleil life, with these people who take high risks to do their art, although they don't necessarily, I think it's high risk because they feel very safe and they have incredible riggers who have their back,
right,
but still
right. What do you have to say about those Cirque du Soleil years? From what I read, you toured all around the world. I think it was India and Africa, and then you were just about to start in the U.S., and then COVID hit, I believe, is what I read.
Well, the only place we went in Africa was in Cairo. Okay. But mainly we were in the Middle East, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were all over the Middle East, and it was fascinating and an incredible experience. It was a cast of about maybe 35. The show is still continuing on after COVID. They went through Brazil already. They went through the U.S. Now they're going to Spain. I'm still with them as the on-call singer. So you never know. I might just be out there again.
Wow, and that's the Bazzar show.
That's Bazzar, yeah. So just a beautiful concept. I was really grateful to be a part of the conception of the show, so I was able to, contribute in the composition, in the sense of, this is my range, and I feel like it would sound nice if it did this, or just being included with the composer to kind of sculpt it, it has a feel of, it feels like me. I feel like so. Oh yeah, and then these artists are just incredible. I mean, I would sing right underneath the trapeze artists, these two incredibly strong women from Montreal, and just kind of trying to, how do you sing and hold your breath at the same time? Wow. Hoping for the best for them, because they've been doing this since they were kids, but still, it's just amazing to watch. Yeah. So I had a great time. Great friends. My kids also got to see many places in the world.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It's not as prescripted as we might assume as audiences.
Well, actually, it was 3 months of creation.
Okay.
And so it was kind of putting it, maybe a run the way I would do it here, or certain interpretations of how I might sing it, that then became kind of the mold. But there was a lot of room for, not a lot, but there was room for improvisation. I had like a kind of improv over, I want to say like a almost cumbia, electronics, like jazzy type of song, where I was just free to kind of create there. But it was very, everything is curated also so that the artists are very comfortable. If they're doing trapeze and I decide to sing some crazy note, it could completely throw them off. Or not trapeze, but like teeterboard. Sure. They like all of a sudden like fly off into the crowd.
Oh,
you have to think about the bigger picture.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're just fitting into a collaboration.
Nice.
Wow. My sense is it's like long, grueling hours and...
Yes, it was 8 to 10 shows a week. And so that means maybe 2 days there would be 3 shows. And there were probably about an hour and a half long, and I was in most of the show. So maybe I was off stage for 2 songs.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was on and off stage. So I started the second set. It was called The Singing Moment, and I just would start by myself. So on those days, I'd probably get there, probably be like 10 to 11, something like that, or 12, 11 or 12. Yeah. Sometimes I would throw in a workout at the end of the night.
Wow.
20 minutes with these dancers and acrobats are so inspiring.
Right, of course.
They'll keep you going. But yeah, so you're doing all your own makeup and hair, and so and costume. You have one costume, but you have to get yourself ready. So yeah, you need the time to do that.
Wow.
And then you just live on the area. You just live at the tent. Have your lunch and dinner, and then head back to wherever you're staying.
Wow. That's intense.
That's exactly right. It's intense. That was a good joke.
Yeah. Music is your world. It's your passion. It's your profession. What do you do to play?
You know,
that you want to admit to.
yeah. I mean, on Mondays, I'm totally playing. I feel so lucky that I play for my work, you know?
Yeah, right.
If it's not fun, I think twice about it. You know, fun creates the freedom, you know, to explore creativity. So I feel like, you know, if it's not fun, then yeah, I should be thinking a little bit about it. But you know what? I love to move my body. I love to exercise. I love nature. I love to hike. I had a rehearsal in the city, and I said, I'm just going to take the ferry to the piers and go on a boat, because we can, for like $10. Everyone in the Bay Area.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Yeah.
So I love to go to shows. I love to see, you know, what kind of music is out there, and explore. I love being around family and friends, and cornhole. I love cornhole.
You love cornhole.
Okay. Let's finish right there.
Wow. All right.
I'm an athlete. I grew up playing softball. Yeah, I stopped in high school, but I played softball and soccer, and I've always loved sports. Nice. And I was a capoeirista for years, which has nothing to do with cornhole. I just really love cornhole. And I'll challenge anyone. No, I'm just kidding. So come see me at the...
So how did capoeira fall away? And other things, like,
how did it fall away?
I mean, I did things too when I was younger that I kind of wish I worked harder.
It is hard on your body, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But also, well, yeah, I mean, it is a full body experience, just like singing, really.
Yeah.
And if you are not staying with it, then every time you're just starting, you have to get your body ready, or you can really get hurt. I got hurt a couple of times, where it would take me out for a little while. But I mean, I left it and came back to it probably 3 or 4 times. I was very dedicated in college. And then I also, when I came home the first time, I was with Mestre Acordeon. Actually, funny, I was at the Capoeira Arts Cafe, which is now Freight and Salvage. So energetically, I have some kind of
with that
pull towards this exact space. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's the exact
I did not.
same
Well,
spot.
and that, I mean, speaking of energetic spaces, just like it gives me chills 2 houses down from a friend I was just seeing who lived here 10 years ago. Like, but literally, like, right in this.
That's such a trip. That is so crazy.
What's the bell?
That's a monastery.
How awesome. Okay.
It is now dinner time or something.
Oh my goodness.
It can be a very challenging path to take. There really is no other path for me in this moment in time. This is how I see it. I think the important part is finding authenticity and my own intentional purpose for what it is that I'm here to share. And that's what keeps me on track. And keeps me going and keeps me excited and continues to have the right people find me for situations that it's not just this, like, you just gotta work hard, you just gotta be out there. It's also, you have to stop and you have to, you know, appreciate the present moment and take in where you are, and also really try to feel the pulse of the world. You know, feeling where are people, what are where's the collective trend of maybe even grief or suffering, and what do I have to say about that, and is there something that I can say that maybe could bring more peace?
Mm-hmm.
That was inspiring. Get liner notes, guest photos, subscribe to the newsletter, and more at agilevocalist.com.